What's going on, Boot Benters? I'm Crystal Clear, and I wanted to talk about the making of the song Toxicity. Toxicity was a beat originally created by my brother. My brother will always make beats, so like he works on a machine or two, and he constantly trying to hone on his skills in making beats. So for the Christmas album, everybody, me, Big Stigs, a couple other artists, Future, it was a few other people, like I believe it was like around in January, we sat and together had a meeting about this Christmas album, and we was just listening to all the beats that he made, and we was picking out of which one I want. I'd like to use that one for the album, blah blah blah. So Toxicity came on, so we all listened to it, and one thing I liked about the song was how gritty. I like these, I know we're supposed to be a Christian label, but I like these gritty hip hop beats that, because it challenges me to write on that particular style, besides staying in the genre of, God is great, God is good Christian music. So like when I hear something that's like unique and out of the norm, that's one of the songs, like those are the type of songs I like to challenge myself into capturing the moment of that beat. So I asked my brother, I said, what is it called? He called it Toxicity. Originally, it was supposed to be me and another guy named Future, but due to a certain event, Future couldn't do the song. So Big Stigs ended up jumping on the project. And knowing Big Stigs, I knew he was going to do well because he writes really good, and I believe he's a better artist than me, and it comes to him naturally. So one day he did his first verse, and he was recording it with my brother Azriel while I was working on my album project, which was Bible. I get a phone call, and he asked me if I wrote the hook to it, and I wrote the hook to it already. So like I had that because I was constantly humming the beat that my brother made and trying to fit my hook to the form of this to match the topic of discussion, which was toxicity. So luckily I had that, so I sent it to him. So he was doing the recording, and I caught wind of how Stiggy's verse was, and I was like, ooh, I loved how that whole song, how his approach to this song Toxicity. So I was like, ooh, I gotta stop my project here, and I'm gonna go ahead and write my verse. So I'll sit there, and Teresa was with me while we, in the background. So literally, it was crazy because when I wrote the lyrics to my first verse, which was the second verse using Toxicity, Teresa had to go to the store with my wife Jennifer, I believe. And as soon as she came back, I already wrote the first verse. And it was just like amazing. So like I told them, I showed them the verse, like I texted them the verse of what I wrote. So they was like, yeah, go ahead and drop it down. So I went to sleep, I rehearsed it, went to sleep, really pumped up about dropping these verses for Toxicity. All of a sudden, God hit me with a concept. And he told me, he was like, I want you to do a third verse for Toxicity, because originally I believe Big Stigs believed it was just going to be two verses, and then that would be it. So in the morning, I woke up early in the morning, and he hit me with these lyrics, which was my first 8 bars of verse 3 and Toxicity. So I was like, he hit me with these lyrics, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I ended up rewriting the third verse, and I know Stiggy was mad because he thought like, everything was good. I'll be done with this song. Let me go ahead to this new project. I sent him the text message early that morning before I started recording. I go, yeah, I'm gonna need you to finish this third verse. And I know he was like, man, this guy always changes his up on me. I do that, you know what I mean? Because when I'm feeling the song and I felt like it needed more to it, I was like, I just wanted to, I'm just going to put the extra work needed into it to make the song even better. So being Big Stigs as he is, he always can drop verses. He got bars in the back of his hand. So he ended up dropping the other 8 bars, and he met me up with the Studio A with Azriel when I dropped my verse in my half of the third verse, and he ended up doing his, and we collabed on it, and it was perfect, man. The concept of the verses, the way I wrote the verse for Toxicity, is that I wanted to demonstrate how we as a society have these toxic characteristics that needed to be out of us in order to have a stronger connection with God. some of the things that I wrote about in the second verse is some of the things that I go through, and some of it is not. But, I just wanted to show the world that, some of the things that Christians go through is some of the things that people are unsaved are going through, and been there, done that on some of these situations. And I realized that through my toxic ways, I was losing my connection with God. So I asked the Lord to try to help me and work with me through my sins and try to get myself back to living the way that Jesus wanted me to live. And I'm still going through it today. And, there's still some days, when I feel like, I'm on the right path. And then there's some days where I feel like I'm being toxic and, and just doing things that are out of character because I feel some kind of need to be for cardinal fulfillment. And, so some days I struggle with that. So, and I just wanted to illustrate that. And I wanted to illustrate that through our toxic view, our toxic ways, our toxic views, a toxic way of thinking, that we're glorifying the enemy by doing what we do as a society for personal and self-gain. And we need to turn back to Jesus Christ and try to get our lives right before we get devoured by the enemy, which is Satan. So that's my, that's the maker's, my view of Toxicity. I believe everybody did well on it. Me and Stiggy collabed before on other songs, and it was amazing where, how we could just get together and write a whole song, even though we wasn't even in the same studio together. He was in Studio A and I was in Studio B, and just put away my project for a while. Let me get to this Toxicity, and then we come together and make an awesome song like that. And the way my brother produces, I knew this sound was going to be great. And, to me with the auto-tuning, because it was me on the first hooks, and, I knew the song was going to be awesome. And I think it might be the show stealer, the whole album. So go check it out. All right? Peace.
Toxicity.
Oh, man. Toxicity. I remember when I got the text message from Crystal Clear about this track. It was Stiggy. I got this song for you. We'll call it Toxicity. Okay. Where are we going with this? But obviously Toxicity, immediately I don't know where I'm thinking with it, but of course it's always good to hear, direction. Crystal Clear or Azriel, Big Bros, going with it when they tell me the title of the track, because it's always the title, and then I hear the track, see if the track's gonna speak to me. But Toxicity was another one where it was the momentum of the track pretty much just gave me the verse. So already I know where I'm going with Toxicity, and definitely what's going on in the world nowadays, and a few people I've dealt with in my life. So it was like coming up with the verse. It was it just came to me, and I actually had like I guess you could say a mindset of like a attitude in regards to like a Tupac verse, especially like a younger Tupac, where I just wanted to be like a rebel when I gave the verse, like in regards to like how my thought process was. So it worked well when it came together, and then how Crystal Clear fed off of my verse to go back and forth. It was
the third verse I like the way.
Yeah, it was a nice clash, and I enjoyed it. Definitely one of those records where it's like it gives you up-tempo energy, and definitely trying to get rid of those toxicity, those demons, get them out your life, and then that track really speaks to you. So Toxicity, I salute Crystal Clear for that one, because I wasn't expecting that one, but hey, I can dip when a punch is thrown. You know what I mean? It's all good. Definitely love that track.
Cool. Toxicity. Let me tell you about Toxicity, man. This beat came to me in like a flash and a flurry. You know what I mean? I laid down the drums. I laid down the synth in the back. You know what I mean? And then I was like, okay, this is a track that I could eat by myself, right? But I really want to start pushing the other artists on the label. As I said before in the previous Behind the Music, you know what I mean? My last solo album was The Fade to Black Face in Life. and I really want to start focusing on running the label, which is another reason why I went to Berkeley, right? To start learning the marketing and the data analytics and all the other tools that I feel that I need to know in order to make the label more successful than what it is now, right? So Toxicity came around, and I said, I really do like this beat, man, but I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do and pass it. You know what I mean? So I didn't write to it at all. You know what I mean? I could have. Trust me, I could have. You know what I mean? But Crystal Clear said he liked it, so he wanted to jump on it. Rest in peace to my boy Jason. You know what I mean? The future. I just found out. Matter of fact, what's the day? December 9th is when I found out that my man passed away in March. I don't have Facebook, so we kind of lost contact, man. But he was supposed to be on Toxicity too, in another track. But life has a way of changing people's courses, man. You know what I mean? So Toxicity came up, and Crystal Clear wanted to jump on it. Big Sticks wanted to jump on it. So those two worked in hand, and you know what I mean? They came up with a marvelous track, man. I love the energy those two guys had, and I was kind of relieved that those guys represented on that track right. You know what I mean? Because if they fell short, I was going to make them go back and tweak it and get it right. You know what I mean? But nah, they smashed that joint. You know what I mean?